Okay, y'all, so this video is going to walk you through the process of revising your claim to make sure that, one, it's structured correctly, and two, that it's logical and convincing. So if we look back, the way we formed our first claim is we turned our prompt into this question: what is my position on the role, if any, the government should play in fostering green practices? And then we narrowed it down to a more specific question, and even another specific question here that we could use for a second body paragraph later. But our more specific question that we're going to form our claim with is, why should the government play a role? And when we ask that question, we end up coming to a claim that looks a lot like this. The government should play a role in promoting green practices because the availability of natural resources is declining. The availability of natural resources is declining. So, my first idea, in other words, the cause of why the government should play a role, is this idea that natural resources are declining. If I take a look at my costs and benefits handout, one of the things that I want to do is make sure that I understand which kind of cause or which kind of idea did I just name. Did I name a financial idea, an environmental one, a social one, or a personal one? And the reason I want to ask that question is because in the next sentence, my sentence of reasoning, it should relate directly back to this idea. In other words, we don't want to go from talking about some sort of economic idea in the first sentence of our claim to then talking about an environmental idea. And yet that's the main mistake that we made yesterday in forming our claim. So look at the problem with this claim. Our cause is an environmental. The government should get involved because we're losing natural resources, environmental resources. And then I go to my next sentence and I say, if the government implements green practices, that's what the government's role is, then it can create jobs and benefit the economy. Oh, the problem here is I've got an economic effect based on an environmental cause. So what I need to make sure of is that my cause and my effect line up. So if my cause is an environmental, then I want to try to find that environmental benefit that aligns to that cause. So, if the availability of natural resources is declining, and I recognize that as an environmental cause, then I need to make sure not that my effect is economic, but that my effect is environmental. So, we go to our words list and we look at the environmental costs or effects of what we say in that first sentence, of declining natural resources. So the effect of that, if the government gets involved, is that it could revive the earth. It could renew resources that we've lost. It could restore strength in the environment. It could revitalize. It could sustain. So then, our claim would want to change, and we would want to change this part specifically to, if the government implements green practices, then it will be able to sustain resources for widespread use. And now we have an environmental effect lined up with an environmental cost.